it's Kendra, and here at Hooked by Happenstance, it is once again time for another installment of Yarn Tales. What is Yarn Tales, you may ask? Well, it is my progressive series where I read books, I finish books, I tell you about the books, and then I come up with a strip to be added to my reading shawl, a chapter, as you may call it, which sums up something I would like to remember about reading that book. The book I most recently finished is called The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. I audiobooked it, and I thoroughly enjoyed the narrator. I did not, however, enjoy the book, but that was a good thing. Let me explain. So, I've told you about a lot of books lately that I have thoroughly enjoyed. In fact, some of them I've liked a lot, like a crazy amount. And I kind of worried that maybe I was just enjoying these books because I haven't read books in a while. And maybe it was just like, ooh, whatever the new shiny thing is, that's what's making me happy, right? But then I read a book I didn't like. And so it proved to me that I don't just like books. I like good books. So in reading this book, I felt very lost to the point where it was 21 chapters, and at chapter 14 I went on to Goodreads to read the synopsis because I was like, okay, and not just synopsis but like the full-on book summary with the spoilers and everything, because I was like, I have to have missed something, right? Like, the book just wasn't doing it for me, and I was like, there's got to be something I'm missing. So I went on and read mostly mixed good reviews. Most people really liked this book. In fact, some people were like crazy in love with this book, but I think in many of those cases that they generally just liked Patrick Ness as an author and did that weird thing where you're like, well, I like you as an author, so obviously anything you produce is amazing. Because that's what it felt like reading a lot of those Goodreads reviews, was like, ooh, Patrick Ness, yay, 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 as opposed to, ooh, The Rest of Us Just Live Here, yay, yay, yay. Anyways, read about it, was like, I guess I'm not missing anything, so I'll just finish this and see if it gets better. And it didn't. So let me tell you what the story is about. It is about a group of high school kids who are very near to graduation and prom and all of those end of high school-y things. It is about a brother and his sister who are in the same high school class because of a series of events. And his mother is a politician. And so it discusses their family dynamic. They have a younger sister and a father. And so a lot of the book is actually about that family dynamic. The family dynamic stuff, I didn't care for too much. The sibling dynamic stuff I found pretty interesting. The main character suffers from some mental illness issues. For the most part, I felt like they were very kind of glossed over and done in a kind of a weird, like, here, you should understand that this person is having an obsessive disorder right now. Insert obsessive disordered thinking. And, like, it was very, I don't know. It didn't feel seamless, and it didn't feel immersive in any way. The one part about the mental health that was good is there was a conversation between a therapist and the main character that came toward the end of the book, which I thought was a really, really good discussion of anxiety. Like, really good. And that was one of the better parts of the book. Otherwise, the story is about these kids toward the end of high school, and there's a secondary group of students who go to their school, and there's weird things happening, and weird things have always, I guess, historically happened at their school, and then, yeah, then they kind of graduate, the book ends. But, I mean, something big happens, but they are not part of the something big, which I understand is the whole point of the book. The idea the rest of us just live here. They are not the main characters. They're not the main focus of the big story, but they have their own stories. I think you're supposed to see that everybody has a story, even if you're not part of, like, the overarching, like, exciting story. But, you know what? That boring story can still be written in a way that's interesting to read. This one didn't strike me as such. Maybe if I were at a different point in my life it would. Maybe, I don't know. But it was not my thing. And so I would not recommend this book. But that is for you to decide. So, then, what do I decide to put in my shawl, right? Well, I'm going to aim for a design in a bright blue because the only color that seemed significant in this book was a bright blue glowing that happened a number of times. So I'm going to use bright blue. I think I'm going to use Super Saver in the color Pool I think, unless I see something in stash that I think will be better. But that's the color I see in my head when I see this bright blue. And I'm going to do a front post double crochet technique to make like lightning bolts, because there is a boy band in this book called Bolts of Lightning. And one of the bigger, more climactic, interesting-ish scenes that happens in the book, it happens at a Bolts of Fire concert. So I'm going to make myself some bolts of fire out of glowing blue. And when I've completed that, I will share it with you. And before I go adding anything to it, I thought I'd show you where my shawl is at this point. Here is what she's looking like. And here is the back. And quickly, let me just remind you what the books are, because, well, it's good for me to remember too. So we have Exit West, Matched, Stargirl, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, and Station 11. So our next chapter here will be For the Rest of Us Just Live Here. And I'm off to figure out my pattern and work something up. So as usual, time has passed, meals have been served. I finished the section of my shawl. I did indeed decide to use Red Heart Super Saver. I'm fairly certain it's in the color pool. The ball band is gone, because this is a ball of yarn I've had for quite some time. But here is what I came up with. There's 2 rows of single crochets and then double crochets, and I worked the lightning bolts maybe-ish pattern across it, and then 2 rows of single crochets on the edge. It's, I don't know, a little lackluster, but still kind of pretty, I think. I feel like it matches the book. It was, you know, not bad, but not great. So that's kind of what it's going to leave me with, is not bad, but not great. So there is the completed section. On the screen you will see a link to the other chapters of my Yarn Tales shawl in case you've missed them, as well as a link to my Etsy shop if you'd like to go check out my handmade project bags and crochet creations to help support me so I keep making fun, free, crafty content for you. And I will see you all next time. Bye!